Vincent Price, and you're invited to my party in the house on Haunted Hill, where so far the ghosts have murdered only 7 people. So won't you come and make it 8? You'll see human heads without bodies. Mysterious pools of blood dripping from the ceiling. The walls move slowly in against you. Don't try to escape, you can't. You ready, dear?
No.
Are you ready, dear?
Yes, damn you.
The ghosts are waiting, so won't you join me in the house on Haunted Hill? Hurry, or you'll be late for your own funeral.
Yeah.
How was Vincent Price?
Oh, marvelous. And I actually worked on a film. He came to Toronto. They were doing a documentary on the history of Dracula. And we went to this, we have a thing here, Casa Loma, which is an old castle this guy built at the turn of the century. So we shot in there. And he was just absolutely marvelous. I mean, we had to shoot because the castle's open to the public. We had to shoot from midnight to dawn, even though we're in interiors. He wasn't happy about that, but he was an absolute delight. And then 4 of us went with him to drive to the airport. He said, "Oh, that's not necessary, boys." I said, no, we want to do this. And he said, no, really, it's too much. I said, "Vincent, you've got a first class ticket. It's the only time we'll ever get to the first class lounge." And he said, "Then you're all coming with me." And Mr. Price said, "I've got some friends with me." So we got there 3 hours before his flight. So we just had a marvelous time sitting in the first class lounge, and they came, "Mr. Price, your flight's ready." And he left. And then a couple of burly guys came up and said, "Okay, you 4, get the hell out of here."
Well, how would you sum Vincent Price up as a human being, though, based on your experience with him?
He was a huge film fan. He was starstruck.
Yeah.
He just, he would talk about going to a party. He said, "I was at a party just the other night. I saw Cary Grant."
Congratulations, Bernard. What a fall. All the way down the stairs. Wonderful. But then you always were good at falling from a great height.
Can't compare, my dear Geoffrey, with your famous death scenes, which you have played so brilliantly for so many years, bitch.
And he was in awe of Hollywood. It was like, no, but you're part of it. You were in Laura, you know, in the Song of Bernadette. You've had a great career. To him, he just loved the old Hollywood. He loved everything about Hollywood, and that didn't take himself too seriously at all. He took art seriously. You could sit down and, I mean, he was a great art expert, and he would talk about that. But when it came to Hollywood, he was just like you and me. We're big fans of it. And
Yeah.
they're talking a guy that, you know, you've seen him in all these movies, these wonderful movies. And he's just a fan. And he was like the old pro. When we were working with him, he would arrive, he would know his stuff, letter perfect. He would be on time. 1-2 takes, you had it, because he was just totally prepared. And we were just doing a documentary where he's just basically sitting in a chair, but he'd have 3 pages of stuff to say, and right there, dead on. So, yeah, I think Vincent Price was a wonderful guy.
Fantastic.
And I think he fell in love with our props guy.
Did he?
But he would do it in a teasing way, because he knew the props guy was like really nervous about being around him. and he'd always take his hand, and you see the props guy going, what do I do now? And there was a tea service. He said, "Oh, Gary, this is such a wonderful tea service. Where did you get it?" And he just doing it to drive the props guy around the bend.
I love it. That's, it's interesting. I love when people can bring a little bit of humor to the workplace too. I mean, you could tell that guy was a pro, though. You could tell in the performance that not just the subtlety at times, but he had to sell a certain level of schlock that I loved, and he was very convincing at. I mean, House on Haunted Hill is a great example of,
Yeah, he wasn't one of these people that went from like the Song of Bernadette and Laura and ended up doing Roger Corman schlock.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, to him, everything was a job. He didn't say, "Oh, poor me. Once upon a time,
right,
I was Academy Award-winning movies. Now I'm doing these drive-in horror things, and it's all camp." None of that at all. He didn't. He just said, "I'm a working actor, and I'm very good." And you saw him in what was a Tim Burton film?
Scissorhands.
And he was marvelous. And I think he just enjoyed working. And you put a job out there, I'll be there, and I'll give you a good day's work.
Yeah, and that's what I loved about him. It doesn't really matter. He doesn't really weigh into the context sometimes. You could tell of what it was about. He just wanted to give you the best version of Vincent Price that he could. And that's what I think I found so admirable about him. Not only do I love all those movies that we saw at the drive-ins too. I mean, House on Haunted Hill, what is it? It's endless.
Usher, the Fall of the House.
Yes, there's you don't want to go down a Vincent Price rabbit hole because it's literally endless and it's just full of all kinds of charming moments. But I love all those movies, and I just think it's so admirable that he does show up. You could sense, I mean, obviously it's in the past tense, he would show up and he would be like, "Okay, I'm playing it, whatever it is. I'm the madcap twin of a crazy scientist who's got a gorilla in a cage that I'm going to electrocute.
I'll give you a great version of it." And he did.
Exactly. And you as a director, and we've all had those phone calls where talent is a major headache. You got to love that. There's something about that you just love. It's like, where's my mark? Okay, ready? Call it.
Your road to redemption is paved with tombstones. No quarter, kill all masters. Go to noquarterkillallmasters.com. Rated R.